Okay, so today we are going to make keto wraps. Here I've got all my ingredients, and first up I'm going to put the cream cheese and the cheese in the microwave for a couple of minutes to melt it. As you can see, it just came out a little bit unmelted in spots, so I just mix that up till I've got a nice smooth consistency. I've just added my eggs and my double acting baking powder, and I'm going to continue to mix that until it's really well combined and it all foams up. It's nice and frothy and really changes the consistency of the cheese. You can see it's like nice and foamy, so now I've just added my salt, xanthan gum and almond meal, and I'm going to work all that into the cheese until I have a really nice thick, no longer sticky dough. So as you can see, I'm using a stiff spatula here. I keep rotating the bowl and I'm pressing it down into the base of the bowl to not only create the nice soft dough, but also to make sure that it's really well combined so that I don't have cheesy strings and little bits of almond meal separated, that it's a nice even consistency and is in fact our keto dough. Well, as you can see, I'm pulling it out. It's on my hands, it's not sticking. So now I'm going to knead it into a nice smooth ball and get it ready to create our wraps for today. So as you can see, I've just got a silicone mat, just a quick few little rounds of kneading it onto the mat just to form it into a smooth ball. That's pretty much all I'm doing it for. If you've used a food processor, it might be a little bit rough, so that's a nice way to make it nice and smooth. Got a couple of sheets of baking paper here, and I press out, I've cut it into quarters and I just press them out into a rough circle, and then I either use a cake scraper or a rolling pin to get the dough quite flat so I can make my first cut with my cake cutter or tortilla cutter that you can see that I've got there. If you don't have one of those, you can use a plate or a saucepan lid, anything that's round to create the shape. It's just nice to have nice clean edges with your wraps, and I just use that nice little cake press that I picked up from Amazon. So as you can see, they come out really nice and shiny and smooth, and I've rolled it out to roughly around about 2 mils on each wrap. So here I'm just using a rolling pin, again just to show you how easy it is, and I might roll it out a few times. So like, you know, once you get used to this, you'll sort of know and feel how thick or thin you need the wraps to be. If you cook them at the same time, you might recognize that you're either rolling it out too thin or too thick. So if I was doing this at home, doing it for a video, I would actually be like popping them straight into a pan and cutting and cooking at the same time. As you can see, I've just changed over to a little egg ring. So this is something that you can do when you get down to the last ones if you want, or make smaller wraps. I like this for a portion that you can make for individual toasties. So like, you know, you could do 2 of these in a toasted sandwich maker and fill it up with, you know, cheese and tomato or cheese and ham, bacon and egg, whatever floats your boat. Okay, so here I've got a griddle pan over medium heat. This is how we cook them. So you pop it directly on. I don't grease the plate or anything like that. You know, it is cheesy, so it won't stick. Well, maybe you should have a non-stick pan of some description, but I know mine is well seasoned. And you're going to cook it until you see it start to bubble, and knowing that it's, you know, starting to get that little nice blackened fleck on the other side. The griddle pan, because it does put those nice little stripes onto the wraps, but you know, it's a personal choice. So again, we flip it over, and just like a pancake, you're going to probably cook it for about half the time on the other side. You don't want to overcook them because they will get firm and crispy, sort of more like a crunchy tortilla than a soft wrap. So you know, you don't want to leave them on there too long. And as you can see, I've got to the right there, I've got a tea towel, and I just pop them in there to keep them warm and to keep them soft. So even if they may go a little bit over, they will soften a little bit when wrapped in the tea towel. Here you can see I've got a crepe pan, so you can do it in a crepe pan or a frying pan. You can see the cheese sort of bubbling up in the bread itself, and again, still over medium heat. Probably, you know, you're cooking for less than 1 minute on one side, and like I said, roughly around about half the time on the other side. But you can see how nicely these work, and you can see, like, see that little puff, like, you know, a perfect wrap. I mean, I can't believe that I never thought to do this with fathead before. But you know, these turn out so fantastic, and they're just so easy to make. See how flexible it is, look. You know? So you can use it as a, you know, as a soft taco shell or tortilla wrap, you know, bread replacement for toasties. You know, I mean, it's always handy, I think, to have, you know, a flatbread in the fridge or the freezer that you can fill with absolutely anything you want. Now here are those little ones that we rolled out. I'm going to put 3 in the pan, and I'm just going to cook them till they're nicely lightly golden on both sides. And like I said, again, they can be, you know, stored in the fridge and used for any of your toasties or a little mini taco. But anyway, hope you love the recipe and use it a lot.